Hi, it's Jeff.
And Denise from Mousesteps.com.
And this is episode number 359
359
of Mousesteps Weekly.
Sponsored by MEI Travel and Mouse Fan Travel. 2021 vacation packages are available, and there's also Florida resident discounts right now as well. And there's so many changes to the parks and resorts, and MEI and Mouse Fan Travel can help you navigate those if you book with them. They've been in business over 20 years, which is a really long time, and they just do a fantastic job.
And also you can check out their Facebook page. I know they usually post at least once a day.
Yeah, I mean, news and such, so I think it's really helpful. So anyway, we are just talking first about merchandise. It is Christmas in July, or it was yesterday, and before we head into Epcot, we're just showing a few items from the Christmas in July collection from mostly the Disney parks. And that you can see there's like a shirt and hat. This is a gingerbread hat.
I like the look of that hat. Very Paris looking to me.
That's what I said. Like, all the gingerbread items are very much what Disneyland Paris has been doing for a long time. This reminds me of the Spirit jersey from last year with the Happy Holidays on it. And I really like the style on this. And then also this, I definitely want to get this.
You are going to get ears?
I am, because it reminds me of Disneyland Paris, and I don't think I'm going to get to go back this year.
I want to see you wear those. I will love that.
I have some ears. I don't wear them very often. And then they also have some towels, also have that Mickey gingerbread on them.
I'm not opposed to that.
No, I'm not either. And then they also have this vintage collection, and I really like the old style Mickey and Minnie best.
I love it. All of this is very nice, actually.
Yeah, and then also we have different types of ornaments. Like the sketchbook ornaments are actually generally just about my favorite ornaments. And like this is for the 50th year since the Aristocats. And then the Lego Star Wars Advent Calendar. That looks really interesting too. There's a lot to choose from, and that's just a tiny bit.
Not to mention the book.
Yes, Holiday Magic at the Disney parks. We've written this up before. They're going to have 1,900 photos in here. I'm glad it seems to be on track.
I know someone else who's done a Christmas book about Walt Disney World.
Yeah, but that was a long time ago, and now it's like that's vintage.
It is
now.
Vintage. It's great. I
This
love
is
that
actually
book.
more like a tabletop, like a coffee table book.
So now we're at Epcot. We just saw the parking lot. They're parking every other car, which makes it very nice, the arrival. And you could see not very crowded this day. They do have all the markers on the ground. This is the first time we've tried the Taste of Epcot, which is kind of a combination of food and wine and flower and garden.
Right, and I think as it gets into fall, they'll have more, as long as everything continues as currently, they'll have more food and wine booths
And
open.
you can see all this new area with the trees and everything. The entrance is very, very peaceful, very nice.
I love coming into Epcot. It looks fantastic. And Epcot is the one park really they can fit more guests and it will feel still very empty. And today the studios looks very busy. So weekends, if you are going to come here right now, and there are guests who are, weekends are going to be a lot busier than weekdays, which is probably normal. But right now, you don't want to have so much of that density. So anyway, there is the Seas. We didn't ride it, but it looks like it only has a 5-minute wait today. So maybe tomorrow we'll ride it.
Well, it's interesting because normally it would be difficult for us to be in that area, but now you sort of walk right past the Seas on your way in if you choose to go to the right. So I like that. Much easier access.
And here is Joy. Now, Joy and Winnie the Pooh, nobody's meeting right now. There's no meet and greets. So they have character experiences that come in the form of cavalcades or, the characters playing in the grass, which is...
I love this.
Yeah.
This is probably my favorite of all the 4 parks character experiences. You don't normally see something like this. You have Joy kind of coming around in the grass, and she was entertaining some young fans there.
I don't even remember this part, but...
It was great. I mean, she is so awesome, and I just thoroughly enjoyed the experience.
When I first saw somebody posting about it, because we weren't there the first day they did this, I'm like, well, that looks a little odd, but it actually is really fun, and guests seem to love it, and there's interaction, and I think that's the most important thing is, little kids aren't always needing to meet characters. It's like there was a little girl who was just interacting with Joy and really seemed to be into
Yeah, that's what was going on
Yeah.
at the very beginning. And I like how she's doing this driving thing. And at one point she was doing, mimicking planting flowers and doing lawn mowing. So it's just so much fun. I mean, it's not as good if you want to get a picture with her, although she will come up at a distance and you can take a selfie, but you can't hug the characters. And I know a lot of character fans miss that aspect.
But, it's better than having nothing at all. And this is like new entertainment, that and the cavalcades. And here's Winnie the Pooh
Look at how
trying to catch the butterflies.
Yeah, it was great. The first time I saw this, I was just smiling the whole time under my mask. It was so much fun.
But as we're just watching Pooh here, he was really fun. The butterfly tent from the Flower and Garden is right in the background, and I'm like, they should just leave it open all the time.
Yeah, Pooh should be over there. Maybe there's some leftover butterflies.
No, but the butterfly tent, like, why not leave the tent part off and just enjoy it, like that? And then
You mean so you can walk through that area?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, all the time, like, why have the tent part?
Mm-hmm.
If you have stuff that will attract the butterflies, guests can enjoy them, but then they can fly away. Also, they don't have to be in a tent.
Or a bear can catch them.
Or the bear can catch them. Yes. I just thought that I would like to be able to walk through the butterfly garden over there too.
I agree. I never did get a chance to do it when the festival was going. I came close, but and I think you did. You had one chance.
Just one time. Yeah, I mean, we weren't in Epcot that much for Flower and Garden, unfortunately.
Now, I just want to mention before this part ends, there's no set time and there's no guarantee on what character will be out. I've heard that sometimes Pooh doesn't come out and sometimes Joy doesn't come out, so you might just get one, you might get both, you might get none.
On
so
that
there's
day,
no guarantee.
They alternated.
Right.
So here, it was a beautiful day. I'm going to say, as we're looking at the food and wine display, which I think is my favorite display
I wonder why.
ever, because I love Remy. But it's not the first time they've
In
had...
Ratatouille, you're a fan of the movie itself.
But they had it in 2007. They had the Ratatouille theme. But there's something about this. I just think they did a very good job with the art. And that's my favorite ever that I can remember. And that's back to at least 2007 where I have photos of all of them.
I agree. I think they did an excellent job with the art. And hopefully, I think originally they were hoping that the Remy attraction would be open and it would all kind of fit in. So we'll see what happens. Maybe it still will be open by the end of the year.
I just want to mention also, like, the monorails aren't running through Epcot right now. So that's something you really notice is the lack of that sound. But here is Elsa. They have the Frozen Promenade, which is, they have 3 different cavalcades that go around World Showcase. Elsa walks quite a bit the whole length of around World Showcase.
Good exercise, and she was enjoying the sun,
yes,
even though she likes the cold. So it was very interesting.
And then there is
Princess
Queen.
Anna?
No,
Queen Anna. I forgot about that. That's correct.
No more spoilers because everybody's seen the movie, I'm sure. And then, so they have 3 different cavalcades, and the Frozen Promenade is one of them. They also have a Princess Promenade that will show, and then the Mickey and Friends.
And I learned they have 2 different paths. Sometimes they will come out of this area here next to Norway and then go back in by Morocco, and then other times they will leave Morocco and then go back in over here. So they don't go all around the entire time. Either whatever cavalcade you see is a half lap.
And Epcot was a little busy in that area because Frozen had broken down, whatever. It wasn't running anymore. And so I think guests were leaving there. Now, Epcot is different than the other parks in that it seems that it doesn't get as busy early. You've got the after hours, the after work crowd.
And we're going to try one of the food items here, and this was the beef filet mignon from Le Cellier.
That was so good.
So good. And the weather was coming when we did this. We're showing you a combination of 2 days. This was in the afternoon right before a big rainstorm, and you could see the wind, so we kind of had to taste it quickly. But I wish we could have savored it because it was so good.
I was so hungry, like we hadn't eaten all day, and so this was actually just enough for me for a meal, and it was really delicious. So
definitely worth it. I thought it was excellent.
We don't usually spend that much on a sample, but now we're not eating in the restaurant, so Yeah.
And we're looking at the relaxation station over here in the UK. This was usually where you would sit if you dined at the fish and chips little kiosk.
Right. And I some of the relaxation stations at Walt Disney World, I think, are a little on the small side. I think World Showplace sort of is one, although that's where people are eating. And that would be my only. I wish they had some larger ones.
And we're looking at the France food items there. I think we're going to try this tomorrow. At least I probably will. And we had a nice wave from one of the
I see
chefs
me in the
there.
background.
Yes, I see you too. And you're going to see us again because I'm showing some photo pass shots. And we were hoping that we were going to get Remy in the magic shot, but we ended up with Chip, which was still very nice.
And there's a Baby Yoda one in Galaxy's Edge now that I
yes.
want to find.
And the trees have returned to France.
They look so good, being back here. And they had taken out all the trees like a number of months ago. And so it's just so nice. And then you have Remy here. And there's only a couple of topiary displays. One of them is the Bambi group. And then Remy close to the France expansion that's going to eventually be opening.
It was really nice to get to see Remy out there again. And we're going to see a little bit more around World Showcase. During the day, I'm just kind of showing not very crowded during the week when we went. And also here in Morocco, they've added some outdoor seating, which I love that because it gives you more options for dining. And you could see you actually have some chairs in the shade under the trees. So I would definitely do this.
And the Morocco group, the ones who run the Spice Road Table Instagram, said you can take food out from any of the places. So, you might want to ask about that if you're going to go to Epcot.
And you can see the Hops and Barley is back in business. Not a big crowd for that, but we will be checking out all these places again starting tomorrow. They also had some entertainment in the America Gardens Theater. And here is Mariachi Cobre.
Yeah, it's nice to see them. I don't know if they're 6 feet apart or not.
Opening
everything.
day entertainment still playing.
Yes.
After almost 40 years. That's incredible.
And then the jammers.
Jamators.
Yeah, jamators. And we don't really go to see them so much. So it's actually nice to have them here on the stage.
And you can sit down in shade. Normally they're out in the sun, so it was more relaxing to do that.
And then here is the signage again. Like, I would actually buy something that looks like that.
I know, I love
artwork.
it. I think they did a great job. And I heard there will be merchandise once they sell out of all the Flower and Garden merchandise. They'll be bringing in the food and wine stuff, so I look forward to that.
I've seen a lot of the Epcot Flower and Garden merchandise leaving the parks, with the eBay and everything. They're selling a lot of merchandise.
So here is the Mickey and Friends. I think it's his World Expedition, something like that.
I think it's World Tour.
World Tour. This was a great one. Another nice motorcade around the park.
And it's Mickey and Minnie. These are, this is a fairly short one. Like, some of the cavalcades are extensive, like the Princess one in the Magic Kingdom or the Pixar one at Disney's Hollywood Studios. This is a little smaller, but it's still nice to see Mickey and Minnie and then Pluto and Goofy.
And we have Spaceship Earth in the background, and I called it a motorcade, but you're right, this was a cavalcade.
Well, yeah, cavalcade is like a procession or whatever, and I think it can be used for almost anything that's like a procession. So, but yeah, it was really nice there's something about this, like, a lot of guests don't get to meet Mickey and Minnie, and it's like everybody can see them, and I think that's very cool.
And I'm sort of demonstrating that you can see it from various areas. So here we are in front of Norway. This is where it's about to end. So at this particular time, it would have started at Morocco and is ending over here at Norway. So this was a different procession than the one we just saw.
And they run them pretty often. Like, as we were walking, we saw, I don't know if we saw all three within a very short period of time. We weren't even at this point, looking for anything.
Well, sometimes you'll see them all very quickly, and other times you have to wait almost an hour to see them at all. So it's really hard. I have not figured it out, their pattern.
I don't know about an hour, but I think when they're running Mariachi Cobre or the Jamators, it didn't seem like they were running anything past them.
And it depends on what half of World Showcase you're on as well.
And also, with any of the parks, you're going to see some of these if you're just kind of, running around, because they just run this stuff all the time. And so I just think I think it's nice for families and kids and all. You don't have to stand around and wait to see characters. They just, pass by you.
Right, and very close up. And these are the princesses who are not appearing anywhere else at all at Epcot. So this is your only opportunity to see the princesses right now.
And most of the princesses, or probably all of them, Belle normally is in France. Jasmine would be in Morocco, Snow White Germany, and Sleeping Beauty would be over in France as well. So they are all, like the ones in the Magic Kingdom, I don't know that they're all meeting, but here they're only bringing princesses around who do meet, and then Anna and Elsa.
And I know sometimes they would be found in Akershus restaurant in Norway,
right.
and that is now a rest and relaxation indoor place, indoor station, whatever.
Obviously we haven't been inside there. So I took this video. I went on the other side.
Yeah, you did a great job. It was nice to see some close-ups of them, and I shot a little bit farther away, so I thought you did a great job with this.
From the iPhone. I
mean,
the iPhone actually
does
great.
Fantastic work.
It's crazy, how good, phones have become. It's, it was like either I could have gotten a more expensive camera or the iPhone, and I said, I think the iPhone will be a little bit more useful.
Right. So anyway, that is our discussion on all the characters. I think that's about it. We've seen 3 processions and then the 2 characters. Oh, actually, I know Mary Poppins.
Right, and Alice in Wonderland, and we have not seen them yet, and they are in back of the UK.
Right.
So
we'll look for them tomorrow.
Yeah, we did not find them this past time.
So now we're going to check out Germany. We ordered the entire food menu, and it was great.
Yeah, they have the bratwurst, which you like, and then apple strudel, and then a pasta gratin.
That pasta gratin was so good. I'm trying to figure out the correct way to say it because I know we have some German fans that will be watching, and they will correct. They will give me the correct. So please, to our German fans, tell me the correct way to say this pasta gratin because I can't figure it out.
Well, pasta gratin, and
it has a long German name.
Yes, but it's better not to just they can tell you what it is.
It was all great though, and I will get this again. I would get all of it again. Even the sausage was better than usual for some reason.
It almost looks like a lasagna. Mm-hmm. And also, I really like the strudel. It's probably not much different than usual, but it's really a solid dessert item.
Yeah,
for the price.
The whole thing. It was $14 for all 3, and I think that was a great deal.
And it was enough for us for lunch, really. I think I got a little extra something also, but we didn't need too much else.
Right, and I always like a pretzel roll with some mustard, so no complaint there. Beautiful, as we said earlier, a beautiful day. You still have flowers, kind of a holdover from the flower and garden, and now we're going to go on Living with the Land. 5-minute wait.
I will say I was hoping that they would hold over a little more of the topiaries and such, but I'm glad that, a few are. So we're going through Living with the Land.
The land of plexiglass.
And, they really try to get everybody to do the social distancing thing in line. I ended up with, these 2 kids, right behind me, so I let them go.
Well, they were going underneath. They need to put plexiglass under, too, because they were kind of going under the line.
It was really odd because they were right behind me. I'm like, okay, go. I thought they were trying to catch up with somebody, but they weren't.
Yeah, I've never seen anything like that before.
We ended up ahead of them because
they made a wrong, they went underneath the wrong part of the line.
It was sort of odd, but yeah, you don't want to do that. You want to stay back 6 feet from people.
So I understand that this has changed. I heard they have put plexiglass on the boats now between some of the seating.
Right, and I don't know if it was plexiglass. I thought it was more that, plastic vinyl type thing.
The stuff that hangs down,
that.
Sort of like in the safari.
Yes. Okay. So we'll try. Maybe we'll try it again tomorrow. I love Living with the Land. It is, it says welcome back, and it is so nice to be able to be back. And I actually am okay with the dividers. I actually prefer it in case guests take their masks off.
Oh yeah, I'm totally fine. Again, it'll be interesting to see it hopefully tomorrow, and we can upgrade or update the video.
And I would like to do also, I think, the boat ride, even though they only have 2 caballeros right now.
Well, maybe they'll have a 3rd return by the time we go.
Probably not that quick.
So we're going to focus on some hidden Mickeys that we found.
Oh, well, a lot of these are similar to how it is, but, normally. But they look like they've really been keeping them up very well. So I enjoyed seeing the Mickey. We've got the Minnie here. You had it was like a hose with Mickey, which is normal. And generally, if you've been through here, there is the Mickey in the frame.
And usually for the holidays, they'll have them really, dressed up a little bit.
And I hope that will be the same.
Rudolph, I think one of them is Rudolph during the holidays.
And we're coming though into the Halloween time frame. It's almost Halloween time normally.
Yeah,
we're only a couple weeks away
the
from
the first Halloween party. We would be making jokes about that because that normally, and there's pumpkins, perfect for this discussion. But that would have been August 13th for the first Halloween party if it had not been canceled. So that would have been just weeks from now.
Less than 3 weeks away, and then the park Magic Kingdom would have been dressed up for Halloween, and I hope they'll still do some of that.
We would have been ready for Christmas by September.
You know what? I don't mind. I love the Halloween party, but in August it's really hot.
Right.
So I don't miss not doing a Halloween party in mid-August.
Right.
But I'm
going to start missing it come end of September into October.
I just, this is a different type of year, and I hope they'll still be able to do some decorations again. If the parks do continue to stay open, I hope they'll be able to do a little of that.
Yeah, my attitude for 2020 is I will take what I can get and like it.
Yes.
So now we're going to go in the Skyliner for a quick little ride so we can check out the latest on the Ratatouille area.
I just wanted to ride the Skyliner. It's one of my favorite things to do now. I just love to ride, and especially now that we definitely don't have to ride with anybody.
Yeah, you're guaranteed to have your own cabin, so that's kind of a nice little bonus.
And I think that's going to continue for quite some time, until the pandemic is over. There are a lot of upgrades, and while we're looking here at France, like security, walking through security now, they've upgraded that. No more hands in the bags. It just, there are upgrades, and I'm really happy about that.
And you could see the fountain is really taking shape. You just saw there, and little Remy's on top, just like in at Disneyland Paris and the Walt Disney Studios. So I'm really looking forward to this.
I would love if they just opened it.
And the creperie too.
I would love to see them just open it. And so there aren't very many cultural representatives, but that doesn't mean there aren't any. We had, hopefully he's okay, I had taken his picture. Lucas here was a holdover, and I don't know how that works, but I do know that there are some, representatives from, even if somebody lives here but is English, they might work there.
And we finally had a chance to return to the bakery. It was closed on our first trip to Epcot, but it had reopened, and I got the last 2 baguettes of the day, and oh boy, did we enjoy those.
Those are so good. And, they had run out of the chocolate chip cookies, but they are still, creating wonderful items, in the bakery.
And earlier we showed a scene from the France movie, a quick picture you took. It was really nice to be back in there. If you do go to see the Impressions of France, they will seat you. So and everything is social distanced, so you are guaranteed to not be too close to anybody.
But if some people start taking their masks off,
right,
or
it's
whatever,
good to keep an eye. The other last time when we were at Hollywood Studios,
we left the theater.
Correct.
But it wasn't too bad on this one. But it was busier than I thought. Now we're walking around World Showcase at night, and World Showcase at night is one of my favorite places to be in the evening, anywhere. And guests really tend to leave. I had mentioned there was an after work crowd that came in for the Taste of Food and Wine. But really, by 7 o'clock, people are leaving because there's no fireworks or anything to keep them there.
Right, you could see it's only 10 after 9, and we sort of had World Showcase to ourselves as we strolled
out of the park. There were a few guests, but not very many at this point, and there was probably some still in a few restaurants. We actually left the park at 10 p.m., but it was just a beautiful walk around, and we walked through the Germany pavilion. We didn't end up walking through the Italy pavilion, and maybe next time tomorrow. Maybe we'll do that.
Well, speaking of the Germany pavilion, we're going to show some scenes from there, including what the buffet is actually open. Well, no, I take it back. It is not the beer garden. I should say,
Right.
is not a buffet. It is now family style, and I think you are guaranteed to just have your own table.
And I didn't even look, I didn't even think to take a photo of that sign. And I know the band
Not
is
not to
back.
worry. I fully will show that in just a second on the video, so you can take a look at some of the new offerings they have and the price.
I totally forgot to even look at it because, I'm so used to it being like the same thing all the time. So every now and then I look to see if the price was the same. But, the beer garden is one of our favorite places, and I am hoping by Christmas we'll feel comfortable to eat inside.
So you can see a lot of our favorites are there. It's now $46.
Schnitzel and potatoes, and it really, it is some of our favorites. So, and then also I never really thought about their teddy bear store as having so much Christmas, in the windows. But when you go there at night, nobody's around. It just looks gorgeous.
So I want to get back to something that we were talking about, which was the cultural representatives. And that was the one thing about, at least for me, I really notice they not being there. It didn't have the same magic, the same feeling to me when you went through the countries. I enjoy being able to interact with all the various representatives, and when you just see regular cast members there, it wasn't quite the same for me.
Right, but you know what? I'd rather see Impressions de France with, I don't know what his name is, let's say Scott from Kissimmee, because people used to say that, how is it going to be in that type of situation? But I would rather see Impressions de France than no Impressions de France.
Right. Well, and the shops are slowly reopening. I know the days we were there, a lot of the shops around World Showcase were still closed, and some of the restaurants. But every day it seems more and more is reopening.
Right. And yeah, things are different. Not everything's going to be open. If you've been to Disneyland Paris, you know how it is when things aren't open.
Yeah,
and that is what,
I'm so glad we did go to Disneyland Paris so much, because it reminds me of that with so much closed around
I
the
feel
park.
like more is open at Disneyland Paris right now because you have the Fantagi, how do you say it? Gelato.
Which is never open.
Gelati. Never open, but it's open now, except 2 days a week.
So anyway, that is another show. When it comes to Epcot, we can talk forever.
I love Epcot, and I just love that we were able to spend so much time, and we're going to spend a lot of time at Epcot tomorrow as well, and hopefully, it won't be crowded or anything.
And we want to thank our sponsor, MEI Travel and Mouse Fan Travel.
We've said it before, I don't really recommend coming right now, but a lot of people are, and everybody we've talked to who has come here has enjoyed themselves, and they're glad they did come. So I always say a disclaimer, but if you want to come here and you are planning on it, check out MEI and Mouse Fan Travel, and at least they can kind of assist you and let you know what's going on.
Well, certainly for 2021, I mean, I think by then it should be everything at least much more.
Hopefully, we don't know, but if you're looking to come in summer or fall or winter, they can assist you.
And that is another show.
That's another show.
So next week we'll have more on Epcot. We're also going to have our look at Disney's Animal Kingdom. We spent a full day there, and we have a lot to talk about. And that'll be the last shows of the 4 parks that we'll be able to do.
And by a full day, you mean like a half day? Because usually,
a full day for us.
Yeah, we
usually arrive a few hours at least after opening for safety purposes. And but that day I think we ended up staying until closing. We definitely did, because we were in Pandora when it closed.
It's kind of interesting the way the different parks are. Like Disney's Hollywood Studios, you want to get there early, and everybody gets there early, just about except for us, because they want to try to get onto Rise of the Resistance. So it really is a park that, is a magnet first thing in the morning.
Right.
Where later in the day it's generally not too bad. And then Epcot, though, people, it seems like it picks up later in the day.
Well, it's more of an after-work crowd. I know we met some local friends that came after work. And plus, it's the latest park, the latest open park at 9 o'clock. It doesn't even open till 11.
Right. And it doesn't, what I've seen online is maybe 11 isn't too bad to get there. It might not be so crazy. So each park is kind of different. I think Magic Kingdom often is an early crowd. But when we got there, guess we're still arriving the other day at 4 p.m. And then Animal Kingdom, I think, is kind of a morning, especially a morning audience there. So it's just interesting how the different parks some are more of a morning crowd and some might be a little bit later in the day crowd.
And because we go during the week, the parks are usually not too crowded. So even if you have less time, you can do almost as much, if not more, than a normal day because of the small crowds.
But like today, it's Sunday, and Animal Kingdom, the wait times looked very reasonable.
Studios looked long.
Studios look packed for now. Studios look packed. I think also, if you are going to go to Disney's Hollywood Studios, they had three, for Rise of the Resistance, they had 3 times that you could try to reserve a booking. Now they have 2. So instead of whatever was it 10, 2, and 4, there's no more 4 o'clock. So the last time is 2. So I'm going to guess that a lot more guests are leaving after that 2 p.m. They didn't get it, and they're going to, especially locals, are going to head home.
Right. And if you don't have to ride Rise of the Resistance, it's not something that we have to do. We've done it. It takes the pressure off. You can show up after 2 and just hopefully have a less crowded park.
Like right now, a lot of the waits for like Slinky Dog, and because I just looked, Tower of Terror and Runaway Railway are in that hour time frame. Probably a little more for Railway. That one is the busiest generally. And also Smuggler's Run was an hour, where a few days ago it was like 10 minutes at one point. Later in the day, I think today we're going to try to get on Railway this week.
Yeah, we're going back on Wednesday, so we'll be able to talk about that a little bit next week as well.
So maybe we'll try to get on at like 6, in the evening.
And we'll probably have a carrot cake cookie.
Probably have another carrot cake cookie, yes. But for attractions, there's a lot of things to consider. You don't want to, if you don't want to get in too many lines. And there's no park hopping right now. So it's not like you can say, oh, I'm going to go to Epcot in the morning and Hollywood Studios in the evening.
Right. So anyway, that's another show. Thanks for listening. Have a great week. And we'll see you all next week, and stay safe.
Stay safe. Have a great week.